Today I'm going over 10 things that you can do to reduce visual clutter in your home. Whether you realize it or not, visual clutter weighs on you. It makes us be somewhere else instead of in the present moment. If you implement the tips I give you today, your home is going to be so peaceful and relaxing instead of having all of the visual clutter that is distracting you from being happy. Let's get started. Do you have second, third, fourth, or more locations of any given category of items in your home? If the answer is yes, this one is for you. We actually had to do this for years with our coats and our jackets, but no more. After we replaced our garage door, I thought about a comment in my home tour video, and that was she loved my entire house, but the coat rack would bother her because it blocked all of the sunlight. So thank you so much if you're the one that actually gave me that comment. Now that our garage door is fixed, we oftentimes come through that way. So why is my coat rack still up here, taking up all of that space in my family room and blocking out all of that beautiful sunshine that can come in? So what we did is we packed up all those coats and we brought them downstairs. It was the single biggest visual clutter that I had in my entire house. So if you're like me and you have an area in your home that you once made a great decision on, and that's what you could do at that point in time, but now you have a different solution, go ahead and implement it, because I'm telling you firsthand, it has made such a difference in how my family room feels and how much less visual clutter that my mind has to deal with on a day in and day out basis. Put a little sunshine emoji in the comments and let me know what is the biggest visual clutter in your home and what you're going to do about it. Another reason we have visual clutter in our home? Well, we have too much stuff. You definitely have visual clutter if you keep buying things and bringing them into your home without decluttering. So make sure that before you make that next purchase, you really ask yourself some questions. Do you need it? Do you want to maintain it? Do you want to clean it? Is this something that is truly valuable to you? Or could you use those funds in a different way? So one of my very favorite things to think about is if I don't make this purchase, let's say it's $100. If I don't make this purchase, would that $100 cover a hotel room or a nice meal when we're on vacation? So what I want you to do is come up with that question for yourself. What is that one thing that you value more than anything that you would rather spend your money on, but that you might always fall short because you spent it unwisely? What is that? What is that one thing that you can ask yourself? Hey, if I spent money on this, that means I can't spend it on that. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love it if you join me. When we moved into our downsized home, we had to take down all of the window coverings that were on the main floor. We couldn't keep them up because they were just old and falling apart. So not having window coverings on our main floor was unintentional at first, but after a while, we decided that's it, we're staying this way. And here's the reason why. It brought in so much natural light. Think about it for a sec. Curtains and window coverings are definitely visual clutter. They take up so much space, they billow out from the wall, they're always kind of cockeyed and you always have to straighten them out. For 2 windows in our family room, we did end up putting a film across the top so it blocks out just a little bit of sunlight for when we're watching TV. But other than that, we don't have any curtains on our main floor. If you have those giant curtains that really take up a lot of space, consider putting in blinds instead, or like me, on just a couple of windows that are necessary, putting up a film. And take down their window coverings from the rest of your windows and just let the light pour in. I bet you it's going to make you feel so good. And you know what? It's one less thing that collects dust, or that you have to clean, or that you have to maintain. Now here's my rule of thumb on the bulk of our walls in our home. I like white walls, and it's not just because I consider myself a minimalist, it's because I don't like to paint. If I paint a wall that's not a neutral color, I tend to get sick of it. And one year I got the bright idea to paint 3 walls in our dining room a red color. And I never had a problem with red until I painted my walls red. My house was not peaceful until we painted those walls again a couple months later. So from that point on, I decided I'm always going to paint my walls in a neutral color, because you can bring decorative items into your home that you can easily change out. But when you're painting, that is not so easy. And if you enjoy having different colors on your walls, that's awesome. Maybe something really speaks to you, but white really speaks to me. It gives me a calm, peaceful environment. And when I change my mind about colors in my room, I don't have to worry about going through and painting walls. As a whole now, I tend to gravitate toward neutral colors throughout my home because I found over time that's what brings me peace and relaxation. Textures and patterns also fall into this category. I don't like to have too many big, vibrant patterns. I used to have these polka dot pillows on my couch. Not only that, but bright green ones as well. And not only that, I had a bright yellow mirror and a bright yellow clock on my fireplace. And it did add some pops of color, but I got tired of those too after a while. So I don't like to spend money on things that I know I'm going to tire of. So I'm kind of selective at this point. I like to keep it neutral. And what I do to give myself a little bit of fun and vibrance is I change out my pillow covers 2 or 3 times a year. It's one of those minimalist decorative tricks that you can use to make your space feel all new again and fresh and reset without even storing anything but a couple little pillowcases. Pieces of furniture are those items we never ever consider getting rid of because we just buy them, we use them, we don't give them a second thought. But I am going to definitely challenge you on this one. My bedroom set back in the day was free. I don't know if you've ever seen a sleigh bed in person, but they literally take up so much more space in a bedroom than is necessary. We don't have a very big bedroom, and yet this bed is just monopolizing the space. So I thought to myself, it would be nice to have a piece of furniture, especially in a place like my own bedroom that I selected. And so that's exactly what I did. I picked out the most beautiful bed and a couple of dressers. I wanted to make sure that the footprint took up as little floor space as possible. So I chose a dresser that was a slimmer design. It's not ornate, it's just a boxy type. I love it and it's perfect. And then on my nightstand, I chose a real thin barrel type thing so that when I'm making my bed, I don't have to wedge myself over on that side table to get in there and make my bed. And on my husband's side, we got rid of his side table altogether. I bought a narrow chest of drawers, and then he has a floor lamp that he can adjust for reading. I like to see space on the floor. I don't want every square foot in my downsized home to have something on it. I don't need every wall to have a piece of furniture to anchor it. We think that we have to have our homes just chock full of stuff, whether it's an occasional chair or a side table or a plant stand. So go through your home. Are there areas of your home that have a table where stuff just accumulates clutter? Is there a chair in the corner of your room that you just toss clothes on and you never actually sit in it and read a book like you thought you were going to do? So par down on those types of furniture. You don't need them, they're not useful, and I guarantee once you part ways with those, you're never going to look back. One of the biggest visual clutter offenders there are things that land on your flat surfaces. Those things just accumulate. I mean, once one thing is on there, things turn into piles and piles, and before you know it, you can't even see the flat surface. The flat surface that tended to accumulate things like nobody's business was my bedroom dresser. You take something off, you set it there, you think, oh, I'll put that away in a little bit, but you never do. And it just sits there. Another area of my home that was always attracting clutter was my kitchen counters. I would have all of the things that I thought that I needed on the counters. I even had a lamp on my counter at one point. What did I need with a lamp on my kitchen counter? I have a really small kitchen to begin with, so I didn't need to add anything like that that's not really useful. Having 3 things on any flat surface in your home is the best way to reduce visual clutter. Put everything else in enclosed storage behind closed doors. Look at the flat surfaces. What category of items are there on those flat surfaces that need to find a home? Figure out, why is this stuff here? Is it something that needs attention? Are these things like receipts that you don't want to lose? Or are they bills that have to get paid? And what is a method that you can use instead of having those things on that flat surface? Maybe it's a bulletin board like we have, where everybody knows what's going on. If we have something that we need to take care of that we don't want to get lost, I just pin it up there. And everybody knows that if they're missing something, that's where it's at. Not having a home for things causes visual clutter like no other. You need to have a place things go, and every family member needs to know what that place is, so that you can all work together to have a more peaceful home with less visual clutter. This is where organizing comes in. After you declutter your home and you're left with only the things that you truly value and care about and love or find useful, organizing is not a one and done type thing. I will tell you that for sure. I'm always evolving my organizing, because life changes and activities change. We might be doing this sport one day, and then the next we're doing this sport. And the size of these things might even change. So we always have to evolve our organization methods, or we'll get back into the same pickle we were in before. Here's what you need to do. Look at the things that you have in your home and where you would like to put them. Make sure that whatever solution that you use, you don't fill it to capacity. Always give yourself some breathing room. Fill it up no more than 80% full, and that leaves you 20% more room in case things fluctuate. Me, one of the things that I always did was get duplicate items. I don't know what it was, but if I liked an item, I felt like I had to have a couple of it. So I would highly recommend you go through your entire house, and especially your kitchen, because duplicate items definitely accumulate in our kitchen, especially utensils and pots and pans and dishes. I used to have a Christmas set of dishes, I used to have a formal wear set of dishes, and then I had my everyday set of dishes. So what I did was I got rid of the formal set and the Christmas set. I accessorized with just a snack plate for Christmas. These things can be used when we're having snacks, and then they could be used as like a salad plate or a side plate at the dinner table. So what I found is my little side plate is just enough to make Christmas special. But I don't need to have entire sets of dishes to make Christmas special. If you have a set of dishes, for instance, that you put out only when it's a special occasion, that's just not a good enough reason to keep that. You just don't need 2 or 3 sets of dishes. Pick out your very favorite that you use all the time, that brings you joy, and let go of the rest. There's nothing like moving into a downsized home and realizing that the walls are plaster to make you stop in your tracks from putting anything on the walls. And that is exactly what happened to us. We never lived in a home with plaster walls. So we had a whole bunch of wall art that was just generic. It didn't mean anything to us. We just had a whole bunch of that stuff, and we delayed putting it up. So that meant we were living in this space without a bunch of things on our walls. And you know what happened? We ended up loving it. Take a look at your walls. Do you just have that generic art that means nothing to you? You bought it at Home Goods, you thought that the colors matched with your decor, but it's just kind of sitting there and you don't even love it? If you like things on your walls, I would challenge you to get something that is meaningful to you. And I'll give you an example. I was at an art fair a couple of years ago with my girls, and we were walking around, and I just glanced over to the side and I saw this beautiful piece of art. It was actually a photograph that was taken by this artist. It had one little lonely bush in a field of snow. It was just all by itself. And I just don't know why it spoke to me, but I had to have it. So that is my one piece of art in my entire house. I'm not saying that I'm never going to acquire another piece of art, but I'm super choosy after I finally realized that whatever I put up on my walls, I want to matter. I want it to be something that makes me happy when I look at it, or useful like a mirror or my bulletin board. So I would suggest to you that you go through your entire house, room by room. Take a look at everything on your walls. Does it mean anything to you? Is it useful? Is it old decor? You don't even like it anymore? Those kind of things can be visual clutter, trust me. And it also can just weigh you down and make you unhappy. I think on the opposite spectrum, having stuff on your walls that is meaningful and makes you happy can be great. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you get a chance to implement some of these tips that I gave you today. Let me know which ones you use and how it works out for you. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button. And while you're at it, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel.